those people were amazing. Took care of me and got me going, and at that point in time I didn't know if I'd ever walk again. I thought it was just going to be, you know, like that was my life, you know. It was numb right arm and numb right leg, and just, you know, people putting me in a wheelchair and this and that. And as it turned out, I started to get all the feelings back, and then I finally went into rehabilitation up here, and then everything kind of came around pretty neat. They had me up and walking, and it was nice to see that there was going to be more than just a vegetable, you know, laying around and nothing to do. And so back to driving a car now. Pretty much do what I want. When I entered rehab, I entered in a wheelchair and couldn't really use my right, you know, arm and leg much anymore, and worked on getting on the, you know, they got me on the beds and they worked on different things, and to walking with a harness on, attached me to the ceiling, so to speak, and walked that way first, and then I walked on the bars, and eventually, you know, learned different things on there, and then I walked with a walker, and that was it was hard work, you know, but it was good. And from a walker, and then it came a cane, so I could walk with a cane, and finally I was walking without it, all in the span of 6 weeks, you know. Speech therapy was very informative. She got me to slow down and talk and enunciate words, and I found myself trying to go faster than I could to speak, and then everything got jumbled up and it was just gone. And just by slowing down enough, I could make good conversation, you know. Occupational therapy was another one where, you know, picking up different things and different objects, and just practicing this, picking up coins or this or that, really made a difference, because you didn't realize how important that was, and you didn't realize how hard it was to do after that. So all the things that, you know, you think is just doesn't make much sense, it does make a lot of sense, because you can't get your hand working right to do it, you know. The first time I threw some quarters on my kitchen table at home to pick them up, oh gosh, couldn't do it. Within, you know, a couple weeks of doing that, well, now I can do it. I can reach down and pick one off the floor. So that was pretty nice to learn and strengthening up and this and that. It was worth it. It was like a challenge to me. I've never been easy at taking no, you can't do that. And you know, they'd say, well, do you want to do this today? And I said, yeah, more than once. You know, let's do it a bunch. And when we were walking, you know, they'd say, well, do you want to go another, you know, what, 20 feet or 30 feet? No, I want to go 100. I want to go don't want to do it again. And it helped. It worked. It's you turn your rehabilitation into a game. Say, yes, I can do this. I'm going to do this, well. I used to lay in my room here and decide what I was going to do in physical therapy that day. And when I walked, I walked into the place and they'd say, well, what do you think? And I said, well, I think we should do this, and if it was something that they thought, would be beneficial, they'd say, well, sure, we can do that. And I think that's one of the reasons that I came about the way it did, just that I wasn't giving up. I assumed that I was going to live in a wheelchair, and I said at that point that I'd be happy with that. I'm already so much better. I'll be happy with this. And now I'm walking and everything else, and Gundersen saved my life. That's all there is to it. I couldn't say enough for everyone. They really went out of their way to help me. So I'm not used to that, The future is going to be great. It's going to be great.